Podcast.
We turning up.
All the way up.
Hey.
With Big John Promotions.
Yo. Welcome to the Doing the Big Podcast. I'm with the homie, the one and only, Millie Mills, young Sam, the cat support.
What it do?
What's happening, bro?
Boy, Millie Mills.
Yeah. So tell me, first of all, tell me Millie Mills, bro.
All right, so yeah, my name's the podcast name Millie Mills. Got the podcast called the Cat Podcast. I'm saying if you don't know me, I'm saying you probably see my face if you don't know me. I'm saying I do go by Millie Mills on here, on the other platform. But if you know me to know me, you know it's your boy Jamil. A lot of people know me from the North, growing up, making moves, just always growing and building and stuff, trying to grow and build with people. So that's why I'm here right now, growing and building with your boy John. I'm doing a big podcast.
I definitely appreciate
I'm trying to get things rolling for real.
Yeah. So you said you from North. You from Pittsburgh, right? Of course.
Yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh on the north side. Born and raised from the north side.
Let's do it, man. Definitely reaching out to people in the city.
Like we most definitely gotta keep working with each other. Supporting each other, getting what we do out there, helping one another. Because in our field of business, we gotta be able to network, market with people, and go up and beyond to actually be able to get to where we want to be. A lot of us actually, I wouldn't say we question things that we do, but we always, have those what ifs. And those what ifs are usually things that we should be trying to do. But those what ifs are actually like risk. And a lot of things in life, people don't like doing is taking risk, knowing that everything you do in life is a risk. So doing this and what we do, we got to be able to keep pushing one another, to actually know if this is what we really want to do. Even if it's not into being a podcast, it could be an artist, it could be an entrepreneur, or whatever we do. But we got to be able to know if this is what we really want to be able to do, and surround yourself by like-minded people, so you can be able to have that push, that motivation, that drive around you and within yourself, and all of that stuff will start showing, will start coming about. Cat Podcast, that came from me. I had to change my name. I was working with somebody actually. We were called Spark Chill Cast. So we pretty much just spark chill. We just had the interviews we did with people. We had like group things that we did with people, had conversations. And once that me and him separated and we parted ways, I pretty much was like, well, everyone knows our logo, knows our name as me being, two people doing that podcast. So like I had to change the name. It took me a while. I was dating someone at that time where they were like, well, you should figure out you should do another name, since people notice your logo and your company, your brand, as it being two people. And I was like, well, that makes sense, you're right about that. And I was already considering doing that, but I needed to have, like, again, say that push or that drive, so that can actually be happening. And so I came up with the name the Cat Podcast, based off of the things that was going on in this world, where people were capping, portraying themselves as being something that they're not, so that they can get looked at a certain way, or have a following like someone else, or even going into like how we always know, like looking up and following celebrities' roles and their ways of lifestyle, when we're not in that position or in that way to actually be doing that stuff. So I wanted to speak on a lot of that stuff, as well as the general conversations, as well as interviewing people, because a lot of the stuff that involves in our journey and our path to doing something or being who we are, we come across a lot of obstacles and things that deter us to actually like put us in positions to want to figure out if we're actually if this is meaningful or if this is meant for or if someone's actually there for me for that or they're supporting me for that or if they're only doing that just that they know that where this can get to or they know where you're going to and they're just trying to hop aboard the train and just ride along without actually putting in the actual support and the actual progression and work with that person so that they can be that person or that company or that brand that they know that they can be. So I came up with the Cap Podcast, so I can stop all the capping that goes on out here in our journey, our society, our world, and becoming entrepreneurs and in our regular day lives and relationships for real. Because a lot of people have people look at other people a certain way, and that reflects on people's business and their name and their company so that they can have to keep their following and people can have them resembled and looked at a certain way. So like a lot of that stuff I say like I try to initiate and try to make sure that shit doesn't happen or that stuff doesn't happen again or it doesn't keep on happening because the more and more that it keeps on happening, the more and more that we're allowing this stuff to keep on going and more that we have to keep on determining how to figure out or make sure this doesn't happen again. So I just wanted to like touch base on a lot of that stuff, and I came up with the Cap Podcast, stopping all the cap.
Dope.
Yeah, I do, because a lot of people are, I would say, are unsure about the platforms that people have, or they're unsure about actually wanting to do interviews as well, because they might feel like it might not help what they're doing. But a lot of people have to understand when you're becoming a music artist, an artist in general, photographer, a model, a person that cooks food, whatever. You actually have to promote. You have to promote yourself. You have to market yourself, make yourself pretty much available and be seen by as many people as possible so that whatever you're doing can be recognized. And a lot of people I've heard from some people, not even me, like I talked to them, not even about my podcast, but I've actually just spoke to them about just having interviews. And a lot of people stated that out of people's platforms, or they feel that people are only using people to get interviews on their podcast for recognition so that, they don't have to put in the work and that they can just get recognized from the people that they bring on. There, it goes into a lot of things. I would say like, I wouldn't say that they're scared to come on, but I say that they have a lot of things that they question about coming on podcasts and doing interviews as well. Because a lot of things that that come in our business, a lot of people are unsure or they just don't want to do it. And with that type of mindset, you limit yourself and you limit your work when you say that you only should be working with these type of people or you should only be working in this type of environment. But if you're not putting that type of quality in or that type of work in to be around that, then you're going to get what's going to come around until everything starts developing and starts growing more. I've actually had to work. I work with some content creators actually as well. I actually dated a content creator, so like that was another thing too. Was like a lot of people feel like they using like bigger name people in the city or bigger name people that do things on their platform to grow their platform or grow their business. When meanwhile, it's not like that. It's pretty, and that's we're pretty much a stage where I'm saying you from Pittsburgh, right? Or you live in Pittsburgh, so you will understand like the same thing that I would be speaking on. A lot of people contradict what people do, and there's a lot of hatred that goes on in our city with people when it comes to supporting, networking, marketing, and promoting. When meanwhile, if we was able to connect with one another on some easier grounds, then we actually be able to accomplish a lot of things that other cities are capable and been doing for the previous time. With all of the resources that we all know from one and like we all know have resources, but the end of the day, do we actually network? No. So like at the end, we're really just putting in work to hopefully get that chance, or we're putting in that work to hopefully come across the right group of people or the right type of people. Because our city is so shameful, or I wouldn't even say shameful. There's so much of hate and self-centered people that are here because we've been used to doing this shit by ourselves for years. And a lot of people also stated that since they've been doing it for years, it's hard to break a cycle. It's like telling a 70-year-old person to stop smoking cigarettes when they were advertised of smoking cigarettes on TV for
Yep.
years.
Yep.
Like, how can we tell them to break a habit that they've been doing for years? You really can't. You can only you know stipulate it, and you can only make it feasible to happen certain times. You can slow the process, but it's not actually going to stop it until people actually start seeing things that actually make them want to stop or have to slow down from smoking. So like again, that's why what me and you are doing, what like a lot of us people that are on podcasts that do, we try to get people out there. But the more I feel like the more and more that they see that we're consistent, and the more that we know that they're consistent and they're serious about what they're doing just as well as we're serious about what we're doing, and we're not in it for the fame, and we're not in it to chase numbers, we're not in it to chase other people's numbers, we're in it to just work with one another. Because in this business of entertainment, we got to be able to work with one another to be able to grow or to be able to build. And you can't you can have I would say you can have standards of what you want to do, but like I said earlier, like you got to be able to put in that work to have those type of standards. I'm saying you can have certain qualities or things that go on which how you do your things, but the standards won't fit up to where what potential and what things that people want out of it. And until we're all in that state of mind of doing that stuff, then we won't really be able to actually grow and actually be something out of it. That's why I continuously to push. Like after I get done with you, I'll be actually going up on mines and continue going with that. I had a lot of people that tried to bash and tried to pull me down into it because I feel like a lot of the work that we do isn't easy. And again, a lot of people don't want to see people succeed in our city. So, they try to pull people down to where they're at. And when they do that, it only makes them more of a person of interest of what's really going on, well, why they're not doing something, instead of what they're trying to blame or try to say how someone is or what they're doing. Because at the end of the day, you could be this person that is causing a lot of things, but you might feel like what you're affecting is doing something. But the only thing that it's affecting is yourself and whatever you're doing as a company or as a business, trying to pull someone else down or trying to make someone feel a certain type of way based off of your own intuitions. And that there's a lot of things that contradicts our work here, and well, working with people in our city. And I named a couple of them. And only thing I feel like we can actually possibly keep doing is pretty much just keep applying it and keep showing consistency, because the more and more people that don't want to do it or they feel like they can't do it, they'll actually start realizing that they should be doing this, and they actually have to do this. I had people that hit me up that after I did their interview, or months after I did their interview, or people I didn't even interview at all. They told me like, you're right, like I do need to like get at least start doing these interviews with places and people, getting my name out there, because as a music artist, ain't no one really gonna know you unless you put in that work to put yourself out there. If you're just doing the same shit, the same stuff consistently, you're gonna be wondering why your work or is not being recognized or being seen.
Um, so how important is networking? Because that goes to all across all business. What you feel?
Network is extremely important. That's one of the biggest things with me. That's all I talk about everywhere I go. I actually mentioned it probably before you asked me this question. And networking is so big to me that I actually Like I've stated it probably on my first episode. I've stated it on my last episode from last season that I was actually about to start taking trips because I have people that have been hitting me up outside the state wanting to do interviews, and they've been watching since my first season. Like I've just started season 4, but they've been watching since season 1, and they love the raw shit that I'm doing and how it's being done. And as you got to watch the process of the seasons, you got to watch the development, you got to watch the change, you got to watch the things that were different in podcasts and what you can do in podcasts, to like where I'm able to now show it all again for everybody, but not uh, at a pace. I'll start showing it a lot quicker, so people can start now learning and start actually noticing that this is something that I take serious, and at the same time that I want people to know that I take serious into them, because I'm actually very passionate about people's work and their crafts and what they do, and that's again why I do what I do. I've been told by multiple people like that I've networked with that they love what I do and how I do it. I've stated that I was actually dating someone. I'm not dating that person no more, but I was dating a person that like ad- adored my passion for this. Like I go to performances, I go to pop up shops, I go I go to this stuff frequently. Like, and you'll see me, you might not see me. I'll pop my head in, I'll pop my head out. I'll drop some cars off, I'll talk to some people. Like I'm not there for, a long time, but I'm there enough to talk to a couple people and keep going from there, because I always know about the events that are going on in the city. And that's another thing that I do too, is I promote a lot of the things that go on in the city. So people are aware about that, because they again don't know what's going on here, and that comes into our marketing area. Our marketing, our promoting, and our networking, all three areas are not strong at all. So I touch on all bases when it's letting people know what's going on to the city, about events, to people performing, to new spots opening up. I'm even I told you I work out of state too, so I'm even letting people know about places outside the state that I actually already work with or I talk to already. That's why I say I have a lot of people I would want me to come through and do interviews with them outside the state. And like I said, going into next year, I'll be setting up a lot of OT trips, doing interviews that I will have live, and you know, I actually going to start dropping some more clips and videos of some behind the scenes of me at performances. I've been at concerts, behind the scenes. I've actually did I did two venues actually as well. I did two events as well. So like I've did some things where now I'm gonna start going on the map, going on a race, and doing work with people outside the state, because they see how serious I am about this networking. I go to all of this stuff. I don't have to always talk to somebody, but you might know me from face and be like, that face look familiar. Like I think that's the dude that be doing that podcast and stuff. And then it goes from there. Now it's like, okay, you do that podcast, when can I come on and stuff like. And I have so many people that I actually have already scheduled to come on, but how I have it scheduled and programmed to be with the season, I'm keeping it interesting, and I'm keeping it flowing to where, okay, we gonna see some people. Sometimes we're gonna see some people. This time we might see people all the time. We might see not. We might just see him for a few. Like we might see him in a different location. We don't know what's gonna happen, but we know that he's doing. He's serious about what he's doing. He's serious about his work, and he's always doing this work. Like we have something to actually. If we're not watching it, there's something to actually listen to. So that's why that goes into all of my how serious I am about networking.
It's you.
So when I tell people, there are a lot of people I'm saying I actually have those. I actually don't even have those questions being asked to me because when I present myself and when I present my brand to people, that's already in the intro. That's already in the introduction. Because, like how I stated to you earlier, it's really not about. I would say it's not always about who you know. It's about being able to work with people because I'm saying you might not even know people that you do work with that can help you put you in positions.
Yeah, that's how it's
Sometimes you might
done.
know, and vice versa.
Yep.
Like so, like I tell people, like wherever you might be trying to get to, wherever you're trying to build and grow at, this is a good step, or this is a good you know way in growing your name and your business because now I'm saying I might not have the same following as you. You might not have the same following as me. But now that's getting my name out to people that you are following or that you might know, just vice versa. Like people that might not even know the podcast or your podcast or someone else that I'm doing work with, now they know.
Cross
And if
network.
they could and that's how it's always been. I actually had feedback. Like my my live podcasts were actually so lit that I had people in there when we were conversating about all of this stuff. I had people actually just listening while they're in the car. Like, and this is a live podcast on YouTube. So if you're listening to it in the car, that means you got to have the video up and the phone down just to hear what's going on and to hear what's really being spoken about. And yeah, I'm saying a lot of people understood that. A lot of people gained to realize that because I'm saying in the field, in our field, and what we do, we got to be able to network with people. We got to be able to try to work with people, and I would feel like it really doesn't matter if their name is big or if it isn't, because at the end of the day, if they like what you're doing or like how you're doing it, they're going to support you and let other people know about it. I'm saying, and word of mouth is another marketing tool as well. It doesn't always have to be, you putting a picture up or you having to put your work out there. It could be always someone saying, oh, my cousin or my friend, he does so and so, he does music or he has a podcast. You should check it out. Their next couple things is, okay, is it on YouTube? Is it on Spotify? The things that we all will listen to things off of. And, you tell them yeah, and then you tell them the name. Now look what you got. You got another listener. You got another follower. I'm saying, and at the end of the day, like I'm saying, I actually got even older followers in on my stuff as well that might not even, agree to probably, me probably smoking or me drinking on there or even the vulgar language. But at the end of the day, that they're taking in the knowledge and the the information that we're all sharing amongst each other. Because it's not always about drinking. It's not always about smoking. It's not always about, us cussing or, speaking amongst one another. It's more so about the information that we're sharing with each other that we might not know about each other or might not know about something, or it could be information that we might have known but we didn't have a different aspect or a different opinion on. Now we have a bigger and a better idea, a clearer idea of something on different aspects. I hear you on that because there's just a lot of things because I had to like I said I had to fall out with a co-host that I worked with, and that happened. I think our fallout was probably when our year mark came around. So after a year of us doing work, we had that fallout, and having all of that understanding and how that stuff was going through that with there not having a clear mindset on, I would say, on one side. Like he understood from my side because I always spoke about things, but with him he didn't really speak on things that were necessary. And I felt like that was also with the relationship that I was part of as well. Didn't have the necessary things that came with communicating. and that caused more issues because you know, it if it's like someone is, it's like you're mad about things that you should be doing that you're not doing, and you're mad, you end up taking blame, or you end up putting blame on the person that's around you instead of actually acknowledging the stuff yourself, and that caused more issues than what it should have been done, and that reflected on, you know, I wouldn't say it did reflect our business, because I'm saying I had to change everything up. His aspects on things were different than what initially it was. Just as well as, you know, the different things that I had to deal with, like when it came to this business, and when it came to my relationship, that damn near was pretty much the same. And you know, I was able to learn that a lot of people's aspects in our business are something that you gonna have to give up on or just quit on eventually, because it's like, well, why waste the time? Because I know in my life now, like, I don't want to continuously to waste time or continuously to waste things that I'm doing, especially if I'm putting work in for it and putting work in to do better with it. And a lot of people, you know, out of don't want to put that work in to actually get themselves out there or to have a better outcome. That's why they end up going through things or causing situations or issues amongst people, and that actually reflects into our networking. Like, a lot of things are personal with people, and they reflect that in our business. And as we know, like, we shouldn't be mixing business with relationships, but a lot of people say that they understand that and they don't. And that's coming from me experiencing that, because I didn't do that. I never did do that, because I understand not to do that. But once I've noticed that someone presented themselves as saying that they don't do that, and they showed that they did, it actually affected a lot. Like, I'm saying, I don't even work with the dude no more. The girl I was dating, I'm not even with no more, all because of those things right there. And that stuff right there actually reflected on, you know, people that out of a followed or believed those people, because now it's like, okay, I don't know if I should follow or even watch that person's podcast anymore, because I know I'm cool with them. Regardless of how true it is or how real it is, they're like, oh, well, this is my people, so I'm not going to follow or watch that. But then that comes into, like, all of the music nowadays too that we listen to. A lot of people don't want to listen to certain type of music based off of how this person is, or this is what they might have did, or this and that. Meanwhile, they still making money from doing what they're doing, regardless of how you hate on them or what you dislike them for, because you don't have to listen to the person all the time to say that you don't like that. I'm sure that you heard their music, or you heard their content, or their stuff before, or you've seen their shit before. So it's not like it's going unseen. It's just more so people have to really learn and really understand the shit that we're doing, because it's like I tell people all the time, this shit ain't easy. Like, I've seen some podcasts start and I seen them end. I seen reasons why they ended. And I've actually seen why people gave and heard why people gave up on the work that they were doing. It's not always about what we're going through personally. It could be other shit mentally that we're dealing with other people. It could be involving things what someone else is saying about what we're doing. They have a judgment on what we do. They have a judgment on what we decide on doing with our own business and how we do it. And when we allow that to happen, it's gonna fuck up everything. It's gonna mess up a lot of things that you worked hard for, or what you've been trying to do. And you know, I've gotten to see a lot of that at hand, and I try to share more and more with people whenever I do get interviewed with people, because a lot of that stuff is really not spoken about. And like I said, I try to end all that capping and stop all that bullshit and that BSing, because that shit ain't gonna get us nowhere besides allowing the same shit to keep on happening, and us trying to, keep talking about it with the next. And ain't nothing happening. We gotta start showing action instead of just speaking about the shit that we always know or always knew was an issue. Gotta start doing something about it. Marketing, promoting. So promoting, I would say, is more so just getting yourself getting yourself out there and your product or what you're doing out there on platforms, social media platforms, any websites, any vlogs or magazines will be my thing into promoting. When it comes into marketing, though, marketing would more so I would be saying putting work into getting yourself to be recognized, because like I feel like promoting is something I say promoting to me is something that's really easy, because I'm saying you can promote in multiple different ways, promote, advertise in multiple different ways. But when it comes to marketing, you're actually putting the work in to promote yourself. Where it comes into like all of the stuff behind scenes that you don't see, speaking to people, actually finding out how much things cost to be able to promote yourself, being able to figure out what things you can promote and market yourself on. Because promoting and marketing, I feel like are two different things to me. Because of the work, pretty much the work way, the work progress in the process. Because I've promoted for a long time for a lot of different things, but I wasn't actually marketing while I was promoting. So like I'm saying, I had to think about like well, I didn't even like I'm saying me and my ex were actually we used to do a lot of thinking and working together, but more so she helped me with thinking with things, just like I would do with her stuff. But like I will always be promoting things, but not marketing with those people or marketing with what they're doing or trying to get some type of work done between us. It was more so of me just showing off what they do, showing off what they done or some work that they did, and that was that. Or letting people know when there's an event or a performance coming up. But when it came to marketing, like I just felt like I had to come to realize that okay, if I'm gonna start trying to post people's stuff, let me see if I can do some work with them or talk to them about doing some work with them that can out of help us grow one another or grow together, or it might help just one of us, and the other person. It's great to just have met that person and continue to grow with that person, because you might be able to have some questions or something that you might want to do down the road with that person, and now you can, based off of the marketing side of what you have did with that person, because you didn't just promote their stuff anymore. You actually decided on marketing with them and what they do, and maybe networking with them to collab. So yeah, I see those two things as a difference. But putting in work is pretty much my way of thinking of marketing, and showing off things will be my way of promoting. That's a that's a good question. Um, well, social media influencers will always have a position, and what we do out here in life, and have an influence in life and in the culture. But like I'm saying I feel like that's how it used to be. That's how it was coming up. That's how I feel like how it was coming up, though, was like a lot of people wanted to be influencers to be able to be something or talk about things. But now I feel like nowadays, if you're able to make an impact anywhere and speak on some genuine, honest stuff, you'll be able to influence anyone. And I can say that from even to working with a lot of females and guys. It isn't just more so as it being women out here that's influencing or social media influencers. There's actually a lot more guys that I've came across and did some work with as I've been growing in this business as well. That we have an impact. Like everyone has an impact. And I don't feel like you have to be on social media or be a social media influence to have that impact, or be able to speak on things. You can just be someone that genuinely or honestly that people like or look up to because of what you're doing or how you're speaking. Yeah, that's how I feel on it. Nothing to me because I've met some. I even got a big one. I got a big name that I got coming up as an interview for next year. So I've been planning and making sure that's all straight. And he's not even on. He's not even big. He's not even a social media person. He's actually an actor, but I'm not bringing him on for acting. I'm bringing him on for what a lot of people don't know he does, and he's an engineer. So. And he's impacted people's life and as being an actor. So I'm saying being a social media influencer is something that is a thing in our day and time to be. There is a lot of people that feel like they should be or they want to be social media influencers. Until that time comes though, when all that shit comes, they can be like, damn, like I gotta keep on doing this. Like, damn, I wanted some things in my life to be private, or damn, I'm tired of certain things happening this, a certain way. Like, cause I've actually had to deal with some things here, like with people that I've never even seen or never even met. Not and it wasn't always like bad things. Like I haven't had any bad things, but I had a lot of people come up to me and talk to me about my podcast and am I that person I be doing the podcast and stuff. So I feel like not having to be a social media influencer is pretty much a thing, but it is a thing for a lot of people to so that they can grow or be something nowadays. Because they might not want to be music artists. They might not want to be an artist of painting or of singing or playing an instrument. Um, they might not. It could be a lot of different things. A lot of people just want to show off their life and be able to influence people a certain way by how they're showing off their life. But then that goes into what I was speaking earlier. But you can show off how you are in your life on camera, but that doesn't necessarily mean who you are. Um, I've been watching a lot of interviews lately too. That's all I do is watch interviews, work with other podcasts. I've actually had some other podcasts out the state. I'll be going on to their shit, doing interviews with. But they actually brought some celebrities on. I've seen Young Nudy's interview. Yes, I think today I was watching. I think it was an old one. But he was asked if you had to be fake to be able to be successful in entertainment, and Young Nudy said, "Hell yeah." A lot of people don't actually necessarily succeed if they're being genuine or honestly upfront with like people don't wonder all of the hard or the crucial or the the nitty gritty stuff of how you got here. They just want to hear all the good shit. They just want to all hear all the positive stuff. They just want to see the good side of your life. They don't want to know what you all went through to get to there. They just want to see you get there. They just want to see you show what you did once you got there and continue showing once you got there. They don't want to know or hear or want to see what you did to get to that point. And yeah, he said that you gotta be fake, but a lot of things with Young Nudy, if you know him, he's not allowed. He has not been able to how honestly and genuinely he carries himself. He knows that he's a street nigga, and there ain't no way around it. So like I'm saying he speaks about it in his music, but his music speaks volume. So like, you know, you can't really hate on it. You just got to know like, okay, well, I just won't bring him, you know, to certain venues because I know I can't have him not say certain things or not in a way that, you know, we don't want him to be, because a lot of people don't want to change who they are, you know, to be part of the industry, or they don't want to become industry to be able to succeed. They want to stay who they are to be able to be successful without having to be told this is how you should be or this is how you got to be able to get this check.
All right, yo. Once again, doing the big part. I want to appreciate that podcast. If you want any shout them out.
Most definitely, I appreciate you having me coming on doing a big podcast. Shout out everybody that tunes in on your podcast. Shout out everybody that tunes in on the Cap podcast. That's been following along the process, the growth, and then all this history that's being made from the podcast here in Pittsburgh. I want to continue shouting out everybody that follows, everybody that's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, Google, on Apple, on everything you could think about, whatever you following on all of our podcasts. Most definitely shout out to all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Keep following on. I'm saying tell people, let people know. Tell people, let someone know, tell someone that, tap in. Tap in with Doing a Big podcast. Tap in with the Cap podcast. I'm saying if y'all trying to grow, get a name for yourself, most definitely tap into the podcast here in Pittsburgh. You already got two of your truly Doing a Big podcast and the Cap podcast. I'm saying tap in if you make music, take pictures, you draw. I'm saying if you into plumbing, you fix cribs, like you work on cars, whatever it is. I'm saying tap in, let people know. I'm saying tell them, don't be ashamed of their work. Be proud of what you do, because what we do is we show off of how proud we are of what you do. So I appreciate everybody for that.
All right, cool. Appreciate you.
Most shit as well.
This ain't the last episode of the Cap.
Not at all. The Cap podcast. You'll see me back on. You'll see me doing it big with the podcast too.
Yeah.
So I'm saying we'll have something on there. We'll collab and do something righteously with the people. And I'm saying until next time.
Deuces.
You are now tuned in to the Doing It Big podcast.
We turning up.
All the way up.
Hey.
With Big John Promotions.